first PhD student to form here in the group back in 2012. So he started his PhD in Porto. I was there at the time. Then he kind of moved here, still belonging to the research unit there. So he graduated in 2012. It was a very successful PhD thesis, very innovative, in the collaboration with Vitor, as he said, Uli. So I showed the picture of Miguel's PhD defense, the committee. There's Luis Lerner, Uli Sperhag, Harvey Reel, Vitor was there, José Lemos was there. So it was really a very successful thesis. Then Miguel went away, and the decade afterwards he came back. So there was a period in which he acquired his own wings and much experience. So it's a really great pleasure to have you back.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Carlos. Yes, right. So as has been mentioned, I feel a little bit privileged in the sense that I was here when the group first started back in 2010. So I can speak maybe from this privileged stance in that I feel fortunate that I'm able now to look back and to see that I can appreciate the growth of the group since its very beginnings. And some of the things that I have planned to say have already been mentioned. So when I was first asked to give this presentation, my first idea was to get the DeLorean and go back and relive some of these first few years of the group. Now, unfortunately, I do not have a DeLorean, so the closest thing that I found was the Internet Wayback Machine, and this is the furthest back in time that I was able to go with this with the Wayback Machine. So this is how the webpage of the group looked back in 2012. So as Carlos already mentioned, this was not the first iteration of the group's webpage. It's just the first snapshot that it was taken by the Wayback Machine. So this is how the front page of the group looked like at this moment. This is some month in 2012. Yes, it was mentioned already. So some of us are maybe old enough to remember this time where superluminal neutrinos were all the rage on the archive. That was, of course, until they realized that they hadn't properly connected the cables. But that's another story. So on the right there, you can see the group members, and already at the time, so this was just 2 years in, right? 2 years after the group having started, there were already 3 PhD students. I was one of them. 3 master students and grade 8 researchers with PhD. So this I was looking into some of the milestones since then to highlight. So the very first publication that shows up on the group's webpage is that paper from Alexandre Correia back from 2010. And the first PhD thesis was actually my own from 2012. And of course, there have been many important publications. I just took 3 here. I mean, the first one we're already, I think we're all familiar with all of them, but the first one, so as already mentioned, I mean, it has 800 citations to date. It basically opened a new field, this paper of Carlos and Eugene. I like very much also this second one, so this paper of shadows of curved black holes. I think this is the first paper that kind of established this research area here in the group of shadows and lensing. And looking back now, so today, according to the record that we have on the webpage, there's been 500 publications and 12 completed PhD theses. And right now, at this moment, we have 9 PhD students and 12 researchers with PhD. The group is also known for its international collaborations. This is just a snapshot of this current one, this new Fanfico network. But I think it's fair to say that over the years, the group has been extremely active in leading this international collaborations. We have collaborations, all over the world. I mean, not on all the continents, but newly so. And this has been through. This has very much been due to Carlos' drive and strong leadership in always making sure that the group always has had the necessary tools and means so that we can all do our research. And indeed, ever since my time as a PhD student to nowadays, there's always been ample opportunity to travel, to meet new people, to go to conferences, and these are experiences that at least myself and I think everyone it's been very, very enriching, and that I treasure very, very much. So these are the research lines that the group has been mostly active on for this past few years. Now, if you allow me, I'll just say a few things on this particular one here of strong gravity, which is I guess where I fit in, and I would like to say the following. It's not so common, it's not so usual to find groups generically, even on groups that are much larger than like in the strong groups throughout Europe that are much larger than our own. And it's not so common that you will find groups that can do these three things simultaneously, let's say. So here what I'm saying, what I maybe it's not the best naming, but when I mention exact solutions, I mean either on a closed analytic form or numerically, right? So the group here, we have the expertise and the capabilities to find either numerically or analytically exact solutions to Einstein's equations. We have the tools and the capabilities to perform the ray tracing of the corresponding geometries, and then to perform the time evolution and to study the stability of these solutions non-linearly. This is not so easy to find groups generically that are able to perform all of these three things, right? So typically you'll find groups that will have specialized like in one of the three or two of the three, but the fact that here we can do all of these three together, it's I think one of the main advantages of the group, one of its greatest strengths that can lead to synergies, as very interesting synergies, as for instance in this in this paper, where precisely this was analyzed, right? So exact solutions to Einstein's equations were generated. The corresponding ray tracing of the geometry and its stability, its nonlinear stability through nonlinear numeric evolutions was done. So to keep it short, this will be my my last slide, in which I would like to say the following. Whenever I travel, whenever I go abroad, I typically, and you know, I'm in interacting with people from outside of the country, and if people ask me where I live, I typically need to say, I need to explain, right? I need to say, okay, so I live in Aveiro, which is a small city, 70 kilometers south of Porto. And okay, with that information, people more or less can see, people have heard of Porto, so yeah, okay, people have an idea. However, on academic settings, if I'm at conferences or something like that, and if I'm discussing with people that, in particular, with people that work in gravity, I don't need to say this, because I will say that I'm in Aveiro, and people know where it is, and they know where it is because the group has put the city on the map. And with that, I finish.
Very nice, Miguel. So our goal is to keep putting it on the map. Thank you very much, Miguel, for your contribution. And let's move on.